Students, today the topic of discussion is peripheral smear preparation. Okay, so let's see this is important for you both theory and practical wise. So what are the different methods where you can prepare a smear? You have a thick smear, you have a thin smear, buffy coat smear. Remember PCV? Okay, when one of the layer is buffy coat, right? With that you can prepare a smear. Then you have a wet film, and then again you have a spun film, that is a centrifuged film. Okay, so thick smear is used mainly for screening purposes for parasites, either malarial parasite or filarial parasite. Okay, then next, how will you prepare this thin film? Either it can be prepared by a finger prick method, or you can have the anticoagulated blood, that is a venipuncture blood, preferably EDTA blood. Okay, so what are the methods? Basically, you have slide method, you have cover glass method, and then you have spin method. Okay, that is again the centrifuge method. Now, what are the steps? First thing is, for preparation you require a slide, and then you require a spreader, obviously the blood drop. Okay, then you have to label the blood film. Okay, then you can stain. Okay, so these are the steps for preparation. Now let's see in detail. So first you take a drop. First you take the slide. Okay, then you place the drop of blood, just a small drop of blood, in the center. Okay, of that remember, both the things should be clean. That is, your spreader should be clean, your slide also should be clean, free from dirt and oil and all those things. Okay, and then you take the spreader. Okay, and then keep it at an angle of 45 degrees. Keep the spreader near the drop of blood. Okay, then gradually move the spreader back, and in a brisk forward movement, okay, you will cover almost the entire slide. Okay, so that is in a rapid movement. You should not jerk in between, a rapid and a brisk movement. Okay, so that is the method for a thin smear. Now, how will you prepare a thick smear? Okay, first you have to take the same thing. You take a clean glass slide, and then you put a large drop of blood in the center of the slide. Okay, and then in a circular motion, just move it around. Okay, just remember, make a big bindi. Okay, big bindi, and let it dry there. Okay, only after drying you have to stain it. Okay, otherwise what is the point? There is no point. The whole thing will get washed off. So you let it air dry, then you go to the next procedure, that is labeling, and then after labeling you stain it. Okay, so labeling is usually done with pencil, because if you use a pen it will get washed off. So pencil, that means the lead will still remain. Right? Okay, so this is the preparation, thin smear preparation. So I told you, you keep it at the angle of 45 degrees. Remember this area. This is the area where you're moving it back and just touching the blood. Okay, so that the entire blood is getting spread like that. Remember, see, you can see on the spreader. Okay, and then you move forward. Okay, so there you will get a good smear. Okay. Okay, there are different methods, but this smear, if you can see, this smear what you're seeing here is not a good one. If you remember, if you can see this, the edges are serrated. Okay, you should not get a smear like this. It should be a clean edge. Ideally it should be a tongue shaped smear. Okay, that is the ideal smear. Now, what is the criteria for a good smear? This is favorite Viva question. Favorite means favorite Viva question. Invariably you will be asked this. So what are the things you should keep in mind? One is the length. The length of the smear should be 2/3 that of the slide. It should not extend throughout the slide. That is one thing. And thickness, it should be of uniform thickness. Okay, so ideally they are saying that it should be around 3 to 4 centimeters. That's the ideal length they are saying. Okay, and margins should be free. That is, from both the ends margin should be free. Okay, that is, it should be in the center. Remember, it should be in the center. That is, it should be away from that head end, the tail end, the upper and the lower end. Okay, so that margin should be, all the margin should be free, and it should be tongue shaped smear. So this is the criteria for a good smear, and there should not be any serrations, any holes. Okay, and the edge should be very smooth. Okay, so these are the criteria for a good smear. Now let's see what are the parts of a smear. You have head, body and tail. Okay, so head, you know, as you know, it is the thicker area. Okay, there the blood film will be thick. Okay, as you go gradually towards the end, towards the tail end, it will become thin. Okay, extreme tail end is very thin. Okay, you will hardly find anything there. For us, the area of interest is the junction between the body and the tail. That means this is the area. This is your ideal area where you're supposed to look for all the cells. Okay, so you will find plenty of polymorphs in this area. If you want to concentrate on lymphocytes, you have to go little towards the body of the smear. Okay, so here remember your area of interest, that is, for us also it is basically the junction between the body and the tail. Okay, remember this color change which you can appreciate here. Okay, this is the ideal area or the ideal thickness which we have to concentrate on. Okay, sorry. Now what are the flaws you will get, and what are the reasons for flaws? So you can have vacuoles in the slide, right? Why there are vacuoles? Either because the slide is too oily or too greasy, or there are some substances, or the sample is very lipemic. Okay, when there are more of lipids in the sample, you will get vacuoles. When will you get serrations? That depends on the spreader. When the spreader is not smooth, you will get a nick or niche on the smear. Okay, then you will get alternate thick and thin areas. That is when you pause and when you draw the smear. Okay, that is when you go in a jerky movement, you will definitely get a alternating thick and thin areas. Okay, so how will you decide which is the area of interest, which is our area of interest? It's ideally you have to look it under the low power microscope. Okay, wherein the RBCs are just touching each other. That is our area of interest. It should not overlap, it should just be touching each other. Okay, so these are the flaws that can happen in a peripheral smear. Okay, here for example, these are the flaws. So here you can appreciate the vacuoles. So this is the vacuoles, and this is too long, it has reached up to the end. Okay, here again this is alternating thick and thin areas. If you can appreciate, here you are seeing the tail end has more of serrations. Okay, so here this is a too small a smear. So these are all the flaws that can happen in a smearing, during smearing. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, what are the qualities or what is the criteria for a good smear? All these are also included. That is, there should not be any holes or serrations. It should be smooth and even, tongue shaped, and it should not cover the entire surface of the slide. Okay, so now you know what are the parts of a smear. It has head, body and tail. Remember, these are all viva questions. They will invariably ask you. Okay, so head is the main portion where you put a drop of blood. Okay, body is again in the center, and then tail end is the lateral, is the other end of the film. Okay, now we go to the next topic of reticulocyte count. Okay, what is a reticulocyte? You know that a reticulocyte is an immature RBC. Okay, just immediately after the nucleus is extruded from the RBC. That is, what are the stages? So you should remember what are the stages of RBC maturation. So you have the blast, erythroblast, right? So from the erythroblast, basically it starts from the stem cells, right? Remember the hematopoiesis? Okay, so from the stem cells, you have committed stem cells and you have colony forming stem cells, burst forming units. Then again, you have the erythroblast. From there, you start the series. So you have early normoblast, intermediate normoblast, late normoblast, and then you have reticulocyte, and finally mature RBC. So reticulocyte is the area wherein the nucleus is just extruded from the cytoplasm. Okay, so here you will have remnants of RNA. Remember, there will be remnants of RNA, ribosomes, and there is no nucleus at this stage. Okay, so this is definitely an immature cell. You will find them in the peripheral circulation also. It has significance when it comes into the peripheral circulation in large numbers. Okay, so how will you detect, or how will you stain a reticulocyte? There is another special stain called as supravital staining. So why is it called supravital staining? Because you're staining the RBCs in the living state. Okay, that's why it is called as supravital staining. So two stains which are used here is, one is new methylene blue and the other one is brilliant cressyl blue. These are the two stains used for staining a reticulocyte. So you will definitely be asked, what is a supravital stain? Give me some examples of a supravital stain, right? So you should be able to tell everything. Okay, so this is a supravital. This is how you see the reticulocyte. If you can appreciate this area, 1 minute. If you can appreciate this area, this is a reticulocyte. Can you see the granules within that? That is nothing but remnants of ribosomes, okay, or ribonucleic acid, which is present within. They precipitate as these dark spots here. This one, all these are reticulocytes. So how will you appreciate these reticulocytes? These are nothing but they are larger cells, okay. Compared to the normal RBCs, they are much larger and they have nuclear remnants. So when you're staining them, the nuclear remnants, that is the ribosomes, are getting precipitated there. Okay, and for us, you can visualize them as these dark blue spots. Okay, so here again you have wet preparation and dry preparation. So much so is not that important for you, but at least you should know what is supravital staining and what are the other methods used. So here, this is a peripheral smear picture. If you can appreciate, this is the reticulocyte here. This one, this is the reticulocyte, and if you can appreciate the arrow there, the black arrow, this is focusing on the remnants, the ribonucleic acid remnants. Okay, and this is the nucleated RBC. Okay, that is your late normoblast. So just immediately after this stage is your reticulocyte. Herein you can see there is no nucleus. Nucleus has been pushed out. It has been extruded. Okay, this is another stain, again another picture of supravital stain, where you can appreciate there is so many reticulocytes, 1 2 3, so many reticulocytes, where you can see the dark ribosomes which is being stained. Okay, so here ends my class. Next class we will be dealing with peripheral smear, staining, and how we report a peripheral smear. This is very important for you. Okay, thank you.